What is going on? We are back with another live, even though I'm pre-recording this live. What is it? January 4th, the first Sunday of 2026, the new year. And man, we got a lot of good stuff to talk about here today. Hopefully you guys are having a great start to the new year. I'm excited about this one, man. I think this is going to be the best year yet for not only for me, but for a lot of people out there. And I'm going to do my part, especially to make sure that this year's great. Some announcements. We do have some announcements, some big announcements. So put on your hearing ears. I will be at the Shark Tank reunion conference this month. I think January 18th through 20th. They've been hitting me up like, hey man, you need to register your team. So I'll be out there with the podcast. Me and I think Brandon is going to come with me, and we're going to be out there just capturing content, man. We're going to be interviewing Shark Tank founders. We're going to be kind of sitting in on different meetings, but I'm out there to actually interview different founders from Shark Tank. So I'm excited about that. That's January 18th through the 20th. I'm thinking about doing a number of things. Number one, I'm thinking about kind of just doing sit down interviews with people. I'm thinking about doing kind of interviews on the go in hallways and stuff like that. But then I think I'm going to do at least one or two lives out there while I'm going live. Maybe as kind of people are walking around in the background, having people come up in real time, kind of share their thoughts and things like that. So I think I'm going to do that as well. So just kind of please hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm, as well as hit that subscribe button, hit that notifications button as well, because I will be going live out there. Newport Beach, California. I heard Newport is a good area, man. I heard they got some money in Newport. So I'll be out there in Newport Beach, California, January 18th through the 20th of this month at the Shark Tank reunion conference, where there's going to be hundreds of Shark Tank founders coming in, sharing kind of trade secrets, trends in the market, good and bad, and kind of just really sharing tips. And I'll be out there for it. I'm fortunate enough to be out there in a media capacity. I'm still an attorney as well, so I'll be out there kind of working that side as well. But the main purpose I'll be out there for is on the media side, doing interviews, network, and things of that sort. So be on the lookout for that. Next, you definitely please hit that like button as well as that subscribe button, because I'm adding a new segment. It's going to start Tuesday. It's called Thank God It's Tuesday. Now, you guys may be asking, especially if you know E.T., Eric Thomas, he had a segment kind of a long time ago called Thank God It's Monday, which is a play on Thank God It's Friday. We all like when Friday comes around. It's a weekend. TGIF, I think they even have a restaurant, TGIF, Thank God It's Friday. And I think E.T. wanted to get people pumped about the beginning of the week. So he came out with this motivational series called Thank God It's Monday. Now I'm kind of playing off that with Thank God It's Tuesday. And what's the significance of Tuesday? Tuesday is when all the patents for that week in the U.S. are issued. So it's not like, the USPTO, they issue patents each day of the week. No, they have one specific designated day. That day is Tuesday, where they issue all the patents for that week. And that day is, again, Tuesday. And I'll be coming out with a series starting next Tuesday called Thank God It's Tuesday, where I'll be going through patents. Now I have to meet some criteria for me to pick it. It's going to be, it has to be a small business. So I don't want to highlight these large corporations. I want to highlight small businesses such as yours and I's. So that has to be number one. Number two, obviously it has a patent. That's why it's issued. They have to have some type of media presence, a social media presence. You have to have a website, maybe a Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, maybe. So you have to have some type of media presence. So it has to be a small business. It has to have an issued patent, which that box is automatically checked. Then it has to be has to have some type of social media presence. And then the fourth is it has to be a consumer product. I don't want to be on the platform trying to go through a engine, but if it's, a new Carmex bottle or a new kind of pill bottle or something that we can use in the kitchen or something that we can use around the house or in the yard or something that's more of a consumer product, then that's what I want to highlight on those. So again, I'm trying to get more people to participate in not only small businesses starting a business, but also filing patents to the extent that that's applicable. And one way I think I can do that is highlight small businesses that has patents in the consumer product field. So I'll be starting that next Tuesday, and the backdrop is totally different from that. That's not going to be this setup where you have the jersey in the background, you have the patents. I'm going to have an actual podium that's going to be in another area of the studio, and that backdrop is going to be completely different. So please hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm, as well as hit that subscribe button, because that starts next Tuesday. And then I'm kind of thinking about, I have to call my CTO today. I'm not sure how much of the interviews I'll do every week. I'm still going to do the interviews, but in the past couple of years, I was dropping interviews every week. And I'm not sure if I'm going to do that this time, at least not to start the year. I think I'm going to kind of do an interview. Then I'm going to do it like a Where Are They Now or who's who. I forget what I called. I came out with one episode, and I think that episode did well with Nikola Tesla and kind of sharing his story and how he was a titan from the IP standpoint. So I think I'm gonna kind of bring that back, and I'm gonna kind of intermingle or intertwine or alternate between the interviews and that on a weekly basis, as opposed to just giving you interview and interview week after week. So I think I'm gonna just start with that at least and see how that goes and go from there. So those are some of the big changes that are coming to the platform. You notice that I changed it to entrepreneurship and intellectual property as opposed to everything intellectual property. I'm gonna start doing more entrepreneurial videos and kind of reacting to those and bringing those down. In a perfect world, I would want to do 2 lives instead of this one live on a Sunday. I want to do a live on a Sunday, maybe another live throughout the week. Then that, thank God, it's Tuesday. That will be live in another portion of the studio, another part of the studio. So I'm trying to get up to 3 lives. I'm gonna do either the interview or the what's the name that every Wednesday. That's still gonna be dropping every Wednesday, and then the current events, the Shark Tank stuff, so forth and so on. So that's kind of the changes that I'm coming out with in 2026. I'm excited about coming out with some new products. So definitely be on the lookout for that. In the process of closing some companies and kind of just going through the process. So be on the lookout for the products starting 2026 with that as well. So those are what I have as far as announcements. Again, this was going to be a quick one just because it wasn't an interview for this week, as well as I think Shark Tank hasn't came out. It probably start back up this upcoming week. So there's no Shark Tank no product to highlight. But we still got some good ones. We got Apple. They came out with a new AirPod. And I don't have my AirPods. I know when I did the what's name video, it's an AirPod. I don't have my AirPods, but we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about what is Stellantis. They came out Stellantis. For those of you who don't know the automaker Stellantis, it was formerly FCA, which is Fiat Chrysler, and Fiat Chrysler was formerly Chrysler. So we all know Chrysler, part of the big three with GM and Ford. So Chrysler was initially bought by Fiat, and they turned into Fiat Chrysler FCA, and then Fiat Chrysler seems like was bought by Stellantis, and now Chrysler ultimately is Stellantis. So Stellantis came out with a new top cover for their pickup truck, i.e. the Dodge Ram, and I'm intimately familiar with the Dodge Ram, so we'll be talking about that and how that looks eerily similar to another truck that we all kind of have come to know over the years. Then we'll be talking about Wallo. Wallo has some interesting words from an IP perspective that I do want to get off into as well. Then we got two quick lawsuit breakdowns. One is Instagram is being sued, so we'll talk about that, as well as we will talk about Ace of Wings. Seems like it's a wing fight between 2 wing companies out in Arizona. So with all that being said, man, let's get off into it. We're going to start with AirPods. So and again, all these ones I have done a bigger breakdown with, or a longer breakdown with, so definitely go check that out. But this is kind of more of a quick hits. This is Apple patents signals a new era where earbuds may monitor brain activity. And man, I'm kind of mad I don't have my earbuds, but it seems like they have filed for a patent application on earbuds, which you see here, that has these sensors on the ear portion that measures your brain activity as well as other kind of functions of the body. And I'll tell you what, man, I have went through a lot of earbuds over the years. I have went through a lot of earbuds over the years. I think I've owned like my 4th pair, and unfortunately, see, I'm born from the 90s, man, and I'm used to you have the headphones with the metal kind of tab or whatever that was connecting them. Those were about $10, $20 nowadays. And I like the AirPods, man. They are convenient, but they're just easy to lose. And those are not $20. Those you're talking about a couple $100 to the extent that you're losing them. Like I said, I probably have given Apple almost $1,000. I'm on my 4th pair at $200 a pop, and I'm talking about 4 pairs in like a couple years. It's not like I've had these things for 10 years, like 4 pairs in like 2 years. So again, but it seems like they're coming up with a new AirPod that not only just allows you to listen to music, answer calls, things of that sort, but it measures your brain activity so that you can it seems like it may be helpful when you're talking about life-changing events, when you're talking about potential medical emergencies. Can seem like it can kind of help you out with that. And then if they're trying to kind of measure your brain waves as opposed to kind of putting that kind of big thing on your scalp so that it can measure kind of brain activity or waves in your brain, it seems like they can do it alternatively using the AirPods and just kind of putting them in your ears, and it's still comfortable, it's still stable, and it still gets the job done. Maybe albeit better than having this brain cap on your head. Let me see if I can kind of pull up a brain cap on a fly here. Brain cap. That's not what I'm looking for measuring brain activity. Let me know if y'all will buy these. I think I will buy these. Now, I don't necessarily like the cost of them, so I would imagine that the cost is the same, if not higher. But I potentially would buy it, especially if it has some health benefits to it. Even though I'm not a big watch person, so I don't have the Apple iPod, but I will potentially buy this. But let's take a look at it. I don't like the way my computer is doing right now. I don't know why my computer is doing that. There you go. So you see the brain cap that I think these ones, I've never seen these overinflated ones, but you see, the cap that this guy's wearing, the cap that this guy's wearing right here, and as well as this cap that this mannequin is wearing. That's a typical brain cap that they use to measure brain activities. And it seems like that's involved, to say the least. Not intrusive, but definitely involved. It seems like these AirPods that you see on the picture to the left hand, those will be a lot easier, in my opinion, to measure brain activities when you're doing testing, or just kind of every day, as opposed to having this cap on kind of throughout the day, just being able to wear these AirPods for hours at a time to measure brain activities. It seems like that will be kind of more beneficial, at least in my opinion. So kind of be on the lookout for that. Like I said, Apple did file a patent application on that, so we'll see kind of how that goes as time goes on. Let's kind of get to the next one. What do I want to do next? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go with Stellantis, man. Let's go with Stellantis. So Stellantis they have filed for a patent application on a pickup truck. Kind of pull this up here. Future Ram. And it's a Dodge Ram. So for those of you who don't know, at one of my old law firms, I used to write patent applications for Ram, for Stellantis, I should say. And part of that was the Dodge pickup truck. So I'm like, if you look at the multi-functional tailgate, which is a tailgate that kind of pivots down like a normal tailgate in the back, and then kind of has two doors that you can unlock and pivot them independently outward. I worked on that family of patents. Then if you look at some of the Dodge Ram trucks, you have a Ram boxes, what they call on the side of the cargo bed, which you can open up and put equipment in, tools, things of that sort. I also worked on that family of patents. So I'm intimately familiar with this Dodge Ram pickup truck. And it seems like they have coming out with a cover, which you see on the back here, 24 on the pickup truck. And it looks very similar to, let me show you what it looks similar to, in my opinion. You guys have to let me know. Now, I do want to kind of give you my thoughts on why I think they will be okay on this one. But this is what it looks similar to, in my opinion. What's that? It looks very similar. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that the picture, the Cybertruck, that back end looks very similar to what the back end that Dodge or Stellantis just filed for a patent application on? I would say so, but that's just me. But this is why I think they'll be okay, just because if they're filing a design patent application, this is why it's important to know the difference between a utility model, a utility patent application, and a design patent application. If Stellantis was filing a design patent application, I think they will get rejected in light of a Tesla Cybertruck. However, they are filing a utility patent application, which pretty much means that it's that they're, again, go through the full video where I kind of broke down and read through the patent claims and went through more of the drawings. But this Stellantis application, where you have those side panels that seems like are in a stove position, they're within the walls of the cargo bed, and then they kind of deploy to this position where they're upward. They extend from the panel, the side walls. Then you have that cover, which you see in a picture, I think it's 52 or whatever the case may be. When those side panels come out the side walls of the cargo bed, the cover kind of is angled, goes into an angled position. So it's more so kind of the function of how you of the pickup bed and how those panels kind of move out, and how the actual surface goes from this kind of rest position to an angle position once those panels come out. So I think, given the fact that this is a utility application compared to a design application, I think Stellantis ultimately will get granted a patent. Again, the Cybertruck, it's just in one position. The Cybertruck, that kind of back end doesn't go from a stove position to a deployed position, is at least not what I'm familiar with. So if somebody thinks otherwise, let me know in the comments. But I think I haven't seen the Cybertruck have a situation where that back end can kind of deploy to that position. I think the Cybertruck is always in that position. Maybe I guess the top can maybe kind of move between different positions, but I don't think they have side panels that come out the wall. So that's kind of my take. That's why I think Stellantis will be okay with it, with the utility application. If they're filing a design application, it may be a little different though, which I would imagine that they know of already. So with that being said, man, let's go to the next one. Before we go to the next one, man, please go check out the ebook that I have. Got IP. And again, I'm taking my own advice with the ebook. That link should be in the description. But the ebook is kind of showing you how to come up with an idea all the way out up to monetizing off your idea. And I got some crazy ideas that not ideas, but I got some crazy things in the works where I'm coming out with a product. The first product, the company that I'm buying should be closing on this month. And I'll be kind of selling a product, which everything's already in place. So that makes it easier. The second product, I actually have they're designing the molds right now, the tooling for it. And that should come out sometime this week or sometime, maybe not sometime this month, but it should come out here by the end of the month as well. So kind of be on the lookout for those things as they are in the queue to come out. And got intellectual property. That's just a kind of an ebook. I'm compiling these Shark Tank stories. It's kind of my expertise in the intellectual property. Check out that ebook. That link in the description. I do want to get to let's see here. Where do I want to go next? And let's go. I mean, I like Wallo just because he gives a lot of game money from business from the hustle motivational standpoint. IQ, he was on. I don't know if it was his podcast at the Lock was on, which is Jada Kids, Styles P, and Luch. I don't know if they were on Billy's podcast or it was vice versa, but he had said some interesting things. He said some interesting things that I do want to go through here really quickly. So let me kind of cue this up. Kind of remove that. Cue this Wallo interview up. Go from there. There we go. Here we go. Here, I don't know why my stuff keep doing that. I think I'm gonna do it like that. Actually, I'm gonna do it like this. Do it like that. Here we go. Let's go. Let me make sure I got it on regular speed. Sometimes I watch these things.
But when you go back to saying,
okay, here we go. Let's go.
About the business side of it, the tech side of it, I got to give a shout out to G Herbo, because I was like, damn, how did you come up? Because we had a conversation and I was like, how you get this song to pop? So Mickey, his manager, was like, Wallo, we got an app. I said, what you mean? You got like 300,000 people on the app. We test run on the app. We sell merch on the app. We do meet and greets through the app. So I'm like, what? I see the app. I download the app. John called, I forget it's called Media something, right? Media something. My Media something. He sampled joint, Phip set up the app, and he showed me the back end. I said, hold up, y'all got all them numbers and emails? So he like, I keep leaking through the app, and that's how the joint going legit. That's how I went.
My bitch.
That's how I went.
Still lit.
So I'm like, language is okay, that's going. I'm thinking that's the way we're gonna go back into, because a lot of people, they sleep on a website or app. That shit is very important, because you got to have a website just to sell your merch on Shopify. For sure.
Yeah. Hey, why did I say on thing? I'm telling you, man, everything is coming together, and that's why I like Wallo, because he's smart with this. Why did I say with the Thank God It's Tuesday segment? One of the requirements, I said the requirement is has to be a small business. You have to have a patent. You have to have a consumer product, and you have to have some type of social media presence, what website, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Because if you are not serious, to me, you're not serious about business if you are selling a product or a service and don't have any social media presence as well as a website. So the fact that he's saying that, it just kind of confirms why I'm doing what I'm doing with highlighting the companies or the products on my Thank God It's Tuesday segment that I'm coming out with. Let's go.
It might just have your domain on there, but you got to have that. And I think we going into the era now, and I'm gonna say this to all the artists out there. I sit back and I'm a vicious IP boy. I'm a vicious trademark boy. Please trademark y'all names and y'all likenesses, because it's coming a time where people gonna have your domain trademark. I'm talking about rapper names ain't even trademark.
Yeah, sure.
Like, and it's like,
yeah, that's crazy. And I had kind of said this when I broke down this video on the longer segment, but that's crazy to think that if you have a stage name, and I every time when I do these trademark kind of current events that I come down with, a lot of times I'll see WWE and they already smart, but it's an organization where WWE, before they coming out with any wrestler, they're trademarking that name. And the fact that you have rappers or artists not trademarking their name, it's crazy to me. Obviously, Jay-Z has his name trademarked. I think Drake has his name trademarked as well. It reminds me a year or so ago when a New Edition kind of beef was going on. New Edition Johnny Gill ultimately got the trademark because, again, a trademark is one of those things where it lasts forever as long as you're using it. So at some point, I think the record company label had a trademark. They owned the trademark New Edition. But when that went back into the depository, it was just out there. And Johnny Gill ended up snatching it up, and the other members were mad at him. But he was like, hey, I got a trademark so that I end up getting it because so that somebody else doesn't get it. And that was kind of astute for him to do, even though it kind of maybe caused problems. But I'm saying all that to say that if you are an actor, an artist, and you have a stage name, you definitely want to make sure your name gets staged. I mean, your name gets trademarked. Now, if your name is your real name, it's going to be a little bit more challenging unless you are a famous person. So if my name is David Spears. So if I was coming out and I'm an artist, my name, and I'm using my real name, it's going to be tough for me to get that name trademark at the beginning because I got to show that it's distinct, or a lot of people kind of know the name to be a famous name. It's easier to get a stage name trademark, but if it's your real name, then number one, nobody else can't do it because it has to be their name to get trademarked. But then number two, it has to be a kind of a distinct name is what they call it at the USPTO. In other words, it has to be your real name. So if you're trademarking your real name, it may be a little challenging to do it from the beginning. Now, once you get to a level of you getting notoriety and fame and all that, it's going to be a lot easier to do it. But if it's a stage name such as The Rock or Stone Cold Steve Austin or whatever the case may be, it's going to be a lot easier to do that at the beginning compared to if it's your real name, you're not a famous person. So that's something that I did want to kind of clarify when he says kind of trademark your name, because I agree with them. But just understand that it may be a little bit more challenging if you're trying to trademark your real name and you don't have any notoriety or people don't know about you in masses. Let's go.
I'm like, how you been doing this long and you ain't trademarked? Because right now we're going through an IP war. There's ready to be a vicious
look how you look at.
Because right now we're going through an IP war. There's ready to be a vicious a kidnapping of IP where people are going to just take your whole intellectual property, your name and your likeness. That's why you're hearing it with the NIL, but it always been here. And they're going to be taking it to be able to do merch because they got the name trademark. And you don't. Even though you say that's your name, but whoever get first to the United States Patent and Trademark Office, like it's ready to be real important. If you got a podcast, if you got a clothing line, you better go take that little $1,500, pay the lawyer, let them do it right. You can do it yourself also on LegalZoom, or you could do it on Trademark here.
I would never, and again, maybe I'm biased because I'm an attorney, an IP attorney, but I would never tell somebody to do this stuff on their own. Just because if your trademark gets challenged, they're going to look for the procedural mistakes that you've made and try to invalidate your trademark on that. You're going to have a lot more confidence going to a trademark attorney, going to an IP attorney to trademark this stuff, because we are going to know the ins and outs of what needs to be done, the accuracy of things, as opposed to you just kind of not knowing the process and trying to fill it out. And then to the extent that somebody sues you, you're going to have to get an attorney anyway. So it's just easier. Like, for example, I just filed for a trademark for a client, and before the trademark even registered, I got a cease and desist letter. We got a cease and desist letter from somebody else. Now, again, and it's going good where we're kind of going back and forth, and it looks like everything's going to be cool. But to the extent that you do it yourself, you're still going to have hire an attorney anyway, to the extent that you get a cease and desist letter, or you want to send out a cease and desist letter. So you might as well kind of build that relationship with somebody else at the beginning, as opposed to being like, okay, hold on, who filed this? You filed this? That's going to tell me, okay, this person's trying to skim for coins, or not skim for coins, but they're kind of tight on money. And do I really want to take that on? Or I'm going to require a large down a deposit or retainer compared to somebody else who they already kind of have a rapport built up with me because I filed their trademark. I'm going to be probably require less of a additional retainer to respond to a cease and desist letter, or to send a cease and desist letter out. So that's why you want to kind of just get an IP attorney, man. It's always good to get an IP attorney on the team anyway. Let's go.
You know what I mean? But like, you got to really figure that shit out. Like, this shit is I don't think we understand it was ready to happen with the IP. Like, this is why catalogs are so important right now, because as you see the Warner Brothers stuff and the Netflix and everybody talking, you ain't got to worry about that if you got a catalog and you own your IP, especially in like everything you ever seen done with $1 million worth of game, every episode, anything, that's me and Gil. Two people. People 50-50, we own our shit. Man. Yeah. So what? Everybody know your name.
Hey, that's pretty much it, man. That's pretty much it. Shout out to Wallo. Shout out to Gilly. I thought that was important to talk about. Man, because Wallo, he was spending some game. And like I said, this IP stuff is extremely important. Your boy, and I got some books coming out. I have kind of merch that I have trademarked. I have companies that I'm in the process of buying, including their intellectual property. And I'm coming out with my own IP. And so, he's exactly right in terms of, hey, man, what they say, cash is king. That's what they used to say. IP is going to be king. And I tell people all the time, in the U.S., that's what we export to the rest of the world. When you think about your favorite movies, your favorite music, your favorite whatever, that's all copyright. When you think of your favorite technology, these Apple products, I'm kind of streaming on an iPhone, got another iPhone right here, got the Apple Mac. There's a ton of patents on that. When you think about your favorite businesses, the Starbucks, the Chick-fil-A's, the McDonald's, those all brand names that are protected via a trademark. So that's what we export here in the U.S. to the rest of the world is intellectual property. And man, my goal is to get at least 100 people this year to get into the game with regard to starting that business, protecting their intellectual property and monetizing that intellectual property, not to plug the ebook again, but the ebook helps you out in doing that. And I'm taking my own advice with the ebook and doing it myself. So kind of shouts out to Wallo and Gilly as we move on to, and we're going to move on to the lawsuits of the week, the lawsuit breakdowns. And the first one is Instagram getting sued. I thought this was an interesting one. I thought that this was an interesting one because Instagram actually sent the cease and desist letter. Let me see if I can get to it. Is this it? Is this it? I gotta have a better system for this. Okay, this is it. I gotta have a better system for this, guys. So Instagram is being sued by Instag LLC. Now, let me know, do you think it's just from the beginning, do you think it's trademark infringement or not? They was sued in District of Connecticut. Pretty much the only difference is you have Instagram and Instag. So they don't have the RAM. It is kind of similar to me. And if they're operating in the same class, man, oh no, that's interesting. But let's go through it and see what's going on. So introduction, this is a short one. Instag is a Connecticut LLC that owns and operates a website. Let's pull up the website here really quickly. I thought this was interesting. I thought this was an interesting business model. Just so you can understand what it is that they got going on. Let me stop my screen. I pulled this up, man. This is an interesting business model. Let me see if I can find it. Give me a second. Here we go. So this is what Instag, in case you haven't heard, and I guess I'll give it a free promotion, but Instag, you can download, you can put a link into this. Let me see if I can try it out. You can put a link. I'm gonna try my website. The way this is supposed to work is you can download images, videos, and collections from any image hosting site. You can put in a hosting site. So I'm gonna put in my personal website. I can click download, and it's supposed to give me the pictures, the videos, so forth and so on. Let's see if it actually works first and foremost. It doesn't look like it worked that well. What is it saying? It's saying URL, commas. You can have multiple URLs separate. We could not fetch data from the URL. If you need help, please visit. Don't even look like it worked. Okay, well that's maybe not the best thing that this thing doesn't work, but apparently you should be able to kind of copy a URL and it downloads the images, the videos, so forth and so on from that website. Seems like it's not working with mine, but nonetheless, we're going to get back to the lawsuit and see what's going on. I actually like when I do it like that. Yep. So the website provides image downloading and video downloading services to its users. Within certain generous usage restrictions, these services are free to the public. So it's free, it seems like, up to a certain amount. The website allows users to download individual electronic images, galleries, recordings, and similar digital media from virtual any hosting site as it expressly advertised on the website. The website is called Universal Downloader that permits the downloading of the publicly available video files, audio recordings, MP3, MP4 files, so forth and so on. So in connection with providing services through the website, Instag makes use of the trademarks Instag.com and Instag on or about. I don't think they have these registered though. I think they filed for them, but let's continue to read. On or about January 16th, so about a year or so ago, in October, respectively, Instag filed applications to register the trademarks Instag and Instag.com, the application seeking to register the marks for use in connection with SaaS, software as a service, featuring software for changing one computer format to another, so forth and so on November 3rd. So a couple months ago, Instagram, acting through this council, sent a cease and desist. So Instagram sent a cease and desist letter through Instag, which again, I think that's interesting because Instag ended up suing Instagram. But it seems like initially Instagram sent the cease and desist letter to Instag. I'm telling you why this is interesting. They sent the cease and desist letter, demanding Instag stop all the use of this mark and withdraw the pending application. So they want them to stop using Instag.com, Instag, and essentially withdraw their trademark applications. The letter also demands that Instag cease the use of the term. Okay, we said that. Instag thus faces a pressing, vital business decision whether to surrender and abandon its trademarks, rights, and fundamentally change its business identity, or instead continue using its trademarks and prosecuting its trademark applications under a different mark. So that's pretty much kind of what's going on here. We're going to skip through the part. We're going to get through the facts, which is short. I do want to say this. Whether it's Instag, that company, or somebody else, man, y'all have to understand, have a better understanding, I should say. And maybe they did. Maybe they went through their counsel and they knew that it's a big chance that Instagram was going to sue them. They was willing to spend the money. For me personally, I don't think, as you're a startup company, maybe they just have a ton of money sitting on the sidelines. I don't think it's worth the money unless you really, really, really like the name to use a name that is going to likely get you sued, which ultimately is going to cost you more money at the beginning as you're a startup company. Now, if you're $100 million in and you want to do it, great. But if you're a startup, and I understand startup companies, every dollar is important, to be wasting it on lawsuits, I think it should be picking a name better. But Instagram maybe wanted to, Instag or Instag.com maybe wanted to trade off the goodwill of Instagram and they were willing to take the risk. I don't know. But for you out there who's watching this, just kind of understand that, because a lot of times with these trademark lawsuits, some of them I think is BS, but some of them is like, you could have probably avoided that. And a lot of times people, or sometimes people have to change their name. I think we did it. Uncle Remus has a trademark in Illinois for a chicken spot. And Uncle Remy tried to, they kind of opened up a chicken spot in Illinois, and ultimately they end up changing the name of the company, which they got to spend money taking down signs and brochures and marketing and advertising, which that could have been avoided if they would have hopefully went to an attorney or got some counsel and picked a different name, a better name that was less likely to get sued at the beginning. So I do want to kind of mention that, because I do think it's important. But I think what Instag did here, and I had said this, I was going to pull up the video, but I'm not going to pull it up. But Morgan, when he was on PBD, he said he came out with it was an ad of a Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse. Disney sent him a cease and desist letter, and he sued Disney. This is exactly what Instag is doing. What they're trying to get a declaratory judgment, which pretty much they're saying, hey, court, before Instagram kind of tries to sue us for trademark infringement, I want you guys to decide that this is not trademark infringement, which is interesting, because you can file a petition with the USPTO. Well, Instagram will have to file a petition with the USPTO to say that, hey, we want to cancel this mark for trademark infringement or likelihood of confusion. But it seems like this is the way that Instag is getting out in front of it, so that they're not at the mercy of Instagram. And let me kind of back that up for those in the back. So typically what happens is when you file for, when somebody sends you a cease and desist letter, they're trying to say, hey, stop using his name, or let's kind of craft ways that I'm okay with your using it. And if you don't agree with it, I'm going to either sue you in federal court, or I'm going to file a petition with the USPTO to have your trademarks canceled. That's what's probably Instagram's next step. They're going to petition the USPTO to cancel the marks, or they could have filed a trademark trademark lawsuit in federal court for trademark infringement. But one of the ways that you can get around that is just, as a defendant, is you can just go to court yourself. You can essentially get out in front of it. It's not necessarily suing yourself, but you're going to the court and saying, filing a declaratory judgment to say, hey, court, I want you to decide that this is not trademark infringement. That's essentially what Morgan & Morgan did when he was talking about it, when he sued Disney. When I was talking about it on the last podcast, on the last live, this is exactly what Instag did when they're like, hey, Instagram is suing us or sent us a cease and desist letters, and the next logical next step is to sue you for trademark infringement. But Instag got out in front of it, went to federal court and said, hey, court, I want you to tell Instagram and that we're not committing trademark infringement. Now, whether it'll work or not, I'm not sure, but that's essentially what they're doing. Let's kind of finish it up here. So let's look at the facts. Instag has made commercial use of the trademarks Instag and Instag.com in connection with the SaaS company. Yeah, we read that one about January 16th. Instag filed with the USPTO. Filed some trademarks. We already went through that. October 31st, Instag filed with the USPTO. Some other trademarks, so forth and so on. On November 3rd, Instagram sent the cease and desist letter. So all this is kind of we already talked about. So, but again, if you look at count one, typically the count one is trademark infringement. What I tell you earlier, this count one was declaration of non-infringement of the trademark. So essentially, Instag is going to the court and saying, hey, we want you to declare that we are not committing trademark infringement. Typically, the plaintiff will sue somebody and say, hey, trademark infringement under the Lanham Act. But the defendant is suing the plaintiff in this, or the person who's receiving the cease and desist letter is suing the person who sent it for a declaration of non-infringement, pretty much saying that, hey, we are not committing trademark infringement. So let's kind of read this count one. Based on the facts set forth in the foregoing allegations, an actual controversy now exists between plaintiff and defendant. With the use and registration of the trademarks Instag.com and Instag, or in connection with providing SaaS services featuring software for formatting, shifting, downloading, and transferring image galleries and collections and similar services infringes Instagram rights to their Instagram mark. Absent a judicial resolution of this matter, Instag will be uncertain as to whether its continued use or registration of Instag.com or Instag marks will expose Instag to liability. In other words, we'll get sued. Under the circumstances, a judicial declaration is necessary and appropriate at this time in order that Instag may determine its rights and duties under the Lanham Act and other applicable law and facts. So that's pretty much it, man. Hopefully you guys got that. Like I said, that's a different wrinkle, man. I'm trying to provide value to you guys, and I thought this was interesting because we've never seen that before. We've never seen where the defendant, essentially the person who's on the receiving end of the cease and desist letter, is rushing the court and saying, hey, court, they're pretty much trying to say, hey, we feel so confident that we are not infringing, that we are willing to come to court and sue them and have you guys decide, as opposed to, the plaintiff having to sue us or petition the USPTO to cancel the mark. We are so confident that we want you guys to tell them that we're not infringing. And that's what they're calling a declaration of non-infringement, or trying to get a declaratory judgment that, hey, we are not infringing Instagram marks. That's an interesting one. I can see a lot more people using that going forward. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Let me know what you guys' thoughts is in the comments as we get to our last one, the wing fight, Ace of Wings. I thought this was interesting, and this was a little bit different as well. So this is the last lawsuit breakdown of the week. Let me kind of tee it up here. First, before I tee it up, let's go to I'm not going to go to the website. Let's read a little bit of the lawsuit. And then I do want to show a video. It is a video associated with this one. That's interesting, I think. So let's go here. So Ace of Wings is suing Smacking Wings for trademark infringement. They're both in Arizona. We're gonna skip this jurisdiction. Let's go to the facts. So Ace of Wings is a restaurant operating in Arizona and is widely known for chicken and wing products. Man, I love chicken. Plaintiff, or Ace of Wings, offers its products to the public through its physical restaurants, online platforms, including social media and third-party services. Ace of Wings has continuously used its business name, logo, and branding in commerce for 2 years prior to the defendant's conduct. So it seems like Ace of Wings was around for 2 years prior to Smacking Wings coming around. Through long-standing use, advertising, and public recognition, Ace of Wings has acquired valid and enforceable common law trademark rights. That tells me something right now. When you're telling me that you have valid common law rights, and I don't get it. I do not get it. And I tell you guys all the time, just get your trademark registered with the USPTO. You heard Gilly, it's only $1,500. If you're operating a business, you're looking to expand, have franchises, just get your trademarks registered. He's saying that they have common law rights, which tells me as an IP attorney that they haven't registered anything with the USPTO. And this, I guess, sort of okay, but you having common law rights pretty much it's not guaranteed that the USPTO is going to say that your trademark is registered. When you register it, the good thing about registering your trademark with the USPTO is it goes through an examination process. And the examiner at the USPTO, once he registers it or says that it's allowed, that's pretty much saying that, hey, you have pretty strong rights in its trademark. But when you're trying to assert common law rights, you're saying that, hey, we've been using this, and by way of this, us using this, we have rights to it, which is true. But the court can come around and say, hey, you have a weak trademark or no trademark at all because of X, Y, and Z. That's the risk that you run when you're trying to sue somebody off common law rights alone, as opposed to having registered trademark rights. And again, it's only $1,500 if you go to an attorney. So just go ahead and do it, get it out the way, and go from there, as opposed to kind of doing what they did, which is trying to go to court talking about we got common law rights. I don't get it. Consumers associate the marks exclusively with Ace of Wings restaurants, okay, so forth and so on. Let's go to the Smacking Wings. Defendant is a direct competitor. And to be honest with you, this was interesting as I kind of glanced through it, because I'm like, hold on, Ace of Wings, Smacking Wings, those are different names. The logos are different. What are they trying to assert here? But you gotta just be patient. So Smacking Wings is the direct competitor. I would say that they both sell wings. On October of 2025, so about 3-4 months ago, Smacking Wings created, published, and distributed a video advertisement on social media platform, including but not limited to Instagram, that incorporated Ace of Wings' actual mark and logo without authorization. Smacking Wings video advertisements were disseminated through social media platforms, including Instagram. To date, Smacking Wings has published no fewer than 6 separate videos, so it seems like they're going crazy. The video depict Ace of Wings logo being physically beaten, attacked, or humiliated by a character or mascot associated with the defendant. Now let's take a look at this. This is interesting. And I will say, man, shouts out to Ace of Wings. Y'all had to be the big dog on the block. That would, hey, as a person who just kind of read it in between the lines, I'm not coming at the McDonald's if McDonald's is not the big dog. I'm not coming at the Ace of Wings if they not the big dog. So apparently, Smacking Wings, they pretty much telling y'all that y'all the big dog on the block in Arizona, at least with regard to chicken wings. That's what that tells me. Let me know if you're in Arizona. I got some family in Arizona. Y'all have to let me know if y'all done went to Ace of Wings before. Let me see. Let's kind of tee it up. Go to this video. I'm on Ace of Wings. I'm on Smacking Wings. Their Instagram. Okay, here we go. Let's see. We'll have to play it a couple times. Let's go. Got 42 likes. So the Smacking Wings is to the left, and the Ace of Wings is to the right.
It's the master! I said who's the master! I can hear you! Who is the master? All right, Leroy. Who's the one and only master? I am. Oh, God damn. Let me go, motherfucker. Let me go.
So y'all get the gist of it, man. Smacking. What do the Smacking Wings say? Smacking Wings says smacking in East and West Phoenix. No debate. Looks like they got some good lemon pepper wings. They got 42 likes. So it seems like that's one of the videos, one of the 6 videos that Smacking Wings has put on their IG page regarding Ace of Wings. Let's get back to the lawsuit since we saw the video. Again, you guys have to wait to the end because I have my thoughts on this one and why I think this one is a toss-up in my opinion. Let's see here, man. Get rid of that. Pull back up this lawsuit. It's a short lawsuit, so we almost done with it. So it says the video depict Ace of Wings logo being physically beaten. Okay, we saw that. The depiction conveys a message of comparative superiority, inferiority between the parties. Smacking Wings use of Ace of Wings was deliberate, knowing, okay, so forth and so on. Defendant has no license, permission, or legal right. So this is what I said. We're not going to go through the trademark infringement. So are they using their mark without permission? Clearly, Smacking Wings did not give Ace of Wings permission to use the mark. But this is what I would say. There's something called fair use. And this is why I think this can go either way. Because you do have fair use where you can use somebody mark from a comparison standpoint. And you didn't see the advertisements where somebody is using, somebody is trying to advertise for their product and they may be using one of the big dogs, whether it's a McDonald's or whether it's KFC wings or whether it's, another big brand product that they're trying to say, hey, ours is superior over this big brand. And that's seems like that's considered to be okay. Now, if you're tarnishing a big brand, that's where you cannot claim fair use. So this ultimately wears a coin flip for me, because on one end, what Ace of Wings is trying to say, hey, this is tarnishing my brand because this thing is getting beat up. He's not just saying, hey, we got wings and our wings are superior over Ace of Wings. He's actually beating up my brand name and physically beating up my brand name, my logo, my trademark in the advertisement, which is tarnishing my brand. Now, whether or not that's going to work, I'm not sure. Clearly, Smacking Wings is going to say, hey, this is fair use. I can use it because I'm using it for comparative purposes. Smacking Wings is superior over Ace of Wings as depicted in the actual video or the advertisement. So that's essentially the two things. Now, whether or not one of them is going to work, I think this is truly a toss-up in my opinion. So let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that this is tarnishment? Showing a video of, I'm not sure what movie clip that was from, but showing Smacking Wings overcoming and kind of beating up Ace of Wings, saying that, hey, we're superior wings? Or do you think this tarnishes the Ace of Wings brand? If I had to guess, I would say that Smacking Wings has a good chance of fair use in this one, but I can kind of see in a world where the judges say, hey, man, this is considered to be tarnishing of the brand. I can't see that. I don't want to say it's a long shot, but it is a shot. But I think Smacking Wings are fair use. Given that situation, I think they have a good chance of coming out on top. So that's kind of what I think on it as we kind of end for the day. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. And this is going to be coming out to the extent that you made it all the way through. I will be on the road when this comes out. So I'm pre-recording this one and I'm going to put it out at 7:30. So definitely go check it out. Next week, we're back live. Please hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Hit that subscribe button, because on Tuesday, like I said, we are coming out with Thank God It's Tuesday. I'm going to tag ET in these, see if I can get him to come up on a panel, but that's going to be in another part of the studio. I have to kind of build that out. I just got the podium. I got to kind of build it out and go pick up some other stuff. So I'm excited about that. Hope 2026, you're off to a great start. We are doing some great things, and I'm sure you want to be a part of it. Patreon, I'm going to be kind of really pushing that soon. Even though it's already up, I'm going to be pushing that soon for some behind the scenes on what I have going on. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. You guys take care. Have a great Sunday. Have a great first week of the year, and great first full week of the year. And I'll catch you guys back live next Sunday. And again, be sure to look out for me January 18th through the 20th. I will be in Newport Beach, California at the Shark Tank Reunion Conference. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. You guys take care. Bye-bye.